Madam Court Reporter, are you ready? All right, thank you. Right, on the record, please. Good evening. Welcome to this evening's local public hearing. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about the Evergy general rate case increase. It's file number ER 2024-0189. The Commission regulates the rates charged by public utilities in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and safety of public utilities. There are 5 commissioners. They are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. I'm Ron Pridgeon. I'm the regulatory law judge assigned to preside over this hearing. With me in person this evening are Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Holzman. Also listening in on WebEx, Commissioner Kolkmeyer and Commissioner Mitchell. The commissioners have not made any decisions in this case yet, and they cannot answer your questions because this case is still pending. I would like to get entries of appearance from council, please, beginning with Evergy.
Yes, this is Roger Steiner, and I'm an attorney for Evergy, Missouri West. My contact information has been provided to the court reporter.
Mr. Steiner, thank you. An entry on behalf of the commission staff, please.
I'm Eric Vandegrift, representing the Public Service Commission. My information is with the court reporter.
Mr. Vandegrift, thank you. And on behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel, please.
John Kleiser, on behalf of the Missouri Office of the Public Counsel. My contact information is with the court reporter.
Mr. Kleiser, thank you. Any interveners here that wish to enter an appearance? All right, hearing none, the process this evening will be for me to call the names who are on the sign-up sheet, and I'll call them in the order that they appear. When I call your name, please step up to the podium, and I will place you under oath. If you do not wish to swear, you may state so, and you may simply affirm your testimony. I would ask that everyone please limit their comments to 5 minutes so that everyone has a chance to speak this evening. I will simply ask you to state and spell your name so the court reporter gets it in the record correctly. And then I'll ask you to proceed with your comments, and that's when your 5 minutes will begin. Are there any opening remarks, excuse me, from the commissioners before we begin to take testimony? Commissioner Coleman.
This one. Thank you, Judge. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out this evening. As Judge Pridgeon mentioned, we commissioners don't have the ability to answer any questions. We are in a information-seeking mode, and we want to hear what you have to say to understand any concerns that you may have. We thank you for your interest and your attention this evening. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for coming tonight. We know that there are a lot of other places you could be, and the fact that you're here shows how important this is to you. This is our 3rd hearing in a row. We started in St. Joe, we were in Lee Summit last night, and tonight we're in Sedalia, and then tomorrow night we'll have a virtual WebEx hearing. So what you have to say matters, and we appreciate you taking the time to let us know your feelings. So thank you.
Commissioner, thank you. Excuse me, any commissioners on WebEx with any opening remarks? Commissioner Kolkmeyer? Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, this is Commissioner Kolkmeyer. I just want to thank everyone for coming out and giving us their thoughts this evening. Thanks again.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Mitchell?
Thank you, Judge. And just to reiterate, this is a process by which the commissioners hear from the ratepayers, and what you have to say is important. So we're happy to be here and to hear what you have to say.
All right, commissioners, thank you. We will now proceed with taking testimony. The first name on the list is Tim Allegri. If you'll come forward to be sworn, please. If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
Thank you very much. If you'll state and spell your name for the record, please.
My name is Tim Allegri, Tim, last name Allegri.
All right. And what are your comments to the commission, sir?
Okay. Thank you for this time. The rate increase frivolously targets all Missouri West customers. This campaign for the rate increase shakes down thousands upon thousands of Missourians who are either low income, disabled, retired, those with limited financial resources, those who don't benefit from roughly 18% pay increases over a 2-year period of time. But anyway, in the May 30 commission order, it insinuates the average residential utility bill of an EMW customer is $100 a month. So earlier on in this, there's some questions and answers talking about 17%, 1752. The fact is, we were notified that it's a $17.52 per month increase. Where does that $100 average number come from? That's basically what's being alleged. For those people who actually receive notification of this meeting, or if they're not paper customers or paperless billing, I can explain that in a minute or at the end if I have time. But the honest error on behalf of Evergy, by the way, seriously. It's just not right to allege that and to give that erroneous information. And the record should note that the average customer's bill is not $100 a month, as we've been informed. What sacrifices is Evergy making at the executive pay level? Sorry, David. What are they sacrificing? Advertising. When my wife and I receive our Evergy bill in the mail and see how much we're charged, all we can envision is the ridiculous commercials, honestly, that Evergy runs. How much waste are customers required to fund in that regard? It's like, I'm going to get energy from somebody else. What are the chances? It's not very real. But the impact to Missourians is huge. It's not $17.52 a month. If you need a loan, let me know. In the PSC complaint, EC 2024-0015, the abuses and bullying of Evergy are voluminous, and their staff of attorneys is voluminous. The following reference items within the EC 2024-0015 as evidence, and this is public information, it's online, they sought to needlessly acquire land from residents and sued landowners in Lafayette and Johnson County. Through the landowner coalition in that PSC complaint, Evergy withdrew their lawsuits, and some landowners have been unable to recoup their attorney fees as required by statute. And I know, the commissioners, we're not in eminent domain, but yeah, you are. Will any portion of the rate increase be used to return dollars to those victims of Evergy's error in that Public Service Commission complaint is a question. Furthermore, how will businesses be impacted by this rate increase? Where's their voice here? How are they notified? When business costs go up, they rightfully pass those costs on to consumers. So we're going to pay 17%. That's not even a real number in this regard. That impact's missing from your calculation. So the real cost to the Missouri taxpayer, every taxpayer, low income, retired, disabled, et cetera, is unreal. When you're making $515 million a year, that's pretty brutal to pass it on to the little guy, but that's the way it is, I guess. So, 1 minute. So we never got the notice in the mail. Me or a neighbor of mine who's here this evening found out because of a case, the EC 2024-0015, that there was something going on, and we contacted PSC, they said, yeah, there's supposed to be a notification coming out. We never got it. So, but I'm here today because found it through John reaching back out to my wife, who sent an email to him. So John's the PSC fellow sitting right here, by the way, for you guys who ain't here. So those people who have paperless billing maybe didn't get notification, because you guys reach out. If somebody wants to come up here and grab these, how much time I got? About 4 seconds. 4 seconds? So there's information that supports, you did notify people via online, but perhaps those people who are paperless did not receive the notification. That's the gap in what happened, I believe, and businesses weren't notified.
All right, Mr. Allegri, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Kleiser?
Are you attempting to offer evidence?
Oh, yeah. Well, not really. I mean, it's how the billing process works. So if you're not an Evergy customer, you don't know that you can go online. Here's multiple copies. There's 5 copies. But if you don't know the user experience of a customer with Evergy, you don't know what it is. So they posted the bill online. If you access your bill online, you can see how much you owe. And then for the 7/1 billing period, it has the attachments. And one of them is the notification saying a 17% rate increase.
Thank you, sir. I move to admit
And
this item.
We can just call this local public exhibit number 1.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's admitted. Thank you.
Well, thanks for standing up
What-
for the
what-
people.
What
Thank
is Exhibit 1? I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mr. Allegri, do you get electronic bills? Is that what you're saying? You're not a paper?
I am paper.
You are paper?
I am
Okay.
paper, but
Okay.
it was not stuffed.
So this-
But I would say
this
Evergy
is the
did
bill-
I would
this
say
Exhibit
Evergy,
1 is the bill you received?
it's not a bill, it's a user experience on the website. So
Okay.
did you notify me?
Thanks for that
Technically, I would say you
clarification.
did. Technically, I'd say you did notify me because it's available to me online. However, if I'm automatic pay and in paperless, it's totally understandable that I could not have, that particular type of customer did not receive notification, which explains why 5 people showed up in St. Joe, 20 to 30 in Lee Summit, and however many are here tonight, and no businesses.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right. Mr. Allegri, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
The next name I have is Jesse Green. If you'll come forward to be sworn, please, sir. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. If you'll please state and spell your name for the record.
Jesse, Jesse, Green, like the color, Green.
Okay. Thank you, sir. What are your comments?
Well, I'm going to start with, I can work the heck out of some cows, but I don't know how good I'm going to be talking up here today. So, 1983, as my research understands it, a kilowatt hour average price was 7.2 cents. 2024, in Missouri, as I understand it, kilowatt hour average is 13.25%. That's an 85% increase, and we're now looking at a 13.99% more. The reason I use 1983, it's the year I was born, thought it was a good year. Turns out soybeans in the price in the year 1983, $8. Soybeans today, $10.40. That's a mere 30% increase. You're probably wondering why I'm comparing this to grain prices, and I'll get to that. Corn in 1983, $3.20. Corn today in town, $3.75, 17%. Farmers are fairly similar to Evergy, as we're regulated. We've got Chicago Board of Trade, USDA speculation, it all beats down on us. So we're regulated, so to say. We've gotten better at what we do becoming better managers to provide for America, why hasn't the energy sector gotten better? Why haven't they gotten better managing? Is it because they haven't had to? Is it because they can just keep coming and asking for more? Or is it because responsible spending has never been had to made? From my understanding, if we did 13%, like we spoke of earlier, 13 cents, and we added a 13.99% increase, that would put us, on average, as Missourians, Evergy, Missouri West, at a 15 cents per kilowatt hour average. From my research, from my understanding, that puts us 12th highest out of 52 states. Arkansas, Kansas, Illinois, Oklahoma, all cheaper than good old Mo. Notification of hearing, that was, as I understand it, a disaster. I never got notified. I am also part of the fiasco that went on 13 Highway. Fiasco, we shall call it. Wasteful spending. We have info from the PSC. It's always been available, how to save energy. Where's Evergy's info, how to save money? Let's quit running the trucks all day. Well, yeah, we got to make sure they're cool over the lunch hour. Let's stop wasteful spending. How many TV commercials do we need? We know they're not cheap. Lastly but not least, the false advertisement of the $100 average bill, 17 and some change. That's all it's going to increase your bill. Today's day and age, can't believe anything. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Green, thank you. The next person signed up is Jim Williams. If you'll come forward to be sworn, please, sir. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And if you'll state and spell your name for the record, please.
My name's Jim Williams, Jimwilliams.
All right, thank you, sir. What is your testimony this evening?
I'm gonna say, first of all, 5 minutes is not a lot. I'm a former employee of Kansas City Power and Light and Evergy, hired in 1989. I retired in 2018 as a journeyman mechanic at Montrose Station. Back in 1989, there used to be an outfit in Independence, it's called Armco Steel. At that time, Armco Steel got behind on their electric payment. And I asked, at that time, it was 800 and some thousand. I asked, what would you do to a residential customer if they got behind? Well, we cut them off. They let Armco get into them for over $1 million. That's one of the points I'm just trying to make. We talk about the time base between the 5 and the 8 where we raise your cost. When that coal comes out of the Wyoming and it sits on the ground at Lacine or it sits on the ground at I-10, they don't charge you any more for that coal usage or buying that coal between those hours of 4 and 8. That coal costs you the same at 6 o'clock a.m. as it does 6 o'clock p.m. And I'm also talk about our doing away with the power plant down at Montrose. Montrose, when they first went down, was Unit 1. That was a 150 megawatt unit in this area that we're talking about right now. I asked, because we still had the land at that time, why don't we put solar in to offset the cost of Unit 1? And I believe because that came from the union. I happen to be the president of the local for 12 years that it wasn't Kansas City Power and Light's idea, so they wouldn't go for it. We have done away with, since Westar has come on board, the Westar went to the union and said, we don't need you maintenance people. We only need operations. We can pick the phone up and we can get people we need to do the maintenance work. Well, I'm gonna use for an example of a coal mill that I was on at Hawthorne Station. Contractors had already been on a mill because it had an explosion. They had 2 shifts. There were 6 people per shift. They had been there a day and a half. C mill exploded. At that time, I was an apprentice. Myself, another apprentice, 1 journeyman mechanic, and 1 welder. We finished that coal mill in a shift and a half. We worked 10-hour days. Those contractors had been on it already for a day and a half with 2 shifts, and was another shift and a half before they got done. These contractors know that if you all don't want to use our own maintenance, they're going to stick it to where you don't like it. And they have no care about that because they know that you'll call them back next week or the week after. They have no ownership to that. We had one of the best apprenticeship programs in the country. Westar come in, we no longer have that. We used to do our own tube leaks whenever we had a tube leak inside them boilers. We now have, I think, 2 or 3 welders left in the whole system. That's between I-10, Hawthorne, Lacey. We also had a wind farm out of Spearville, Kansas, still do have it. At that time, Scott Hybrink happened to be the head of generation. I went out there, all 99 turbines were sitting there dead. And I asked what's going on. These people like, we don't know. We're told we're on reserve shutdown. When I come back and brought that, I told Scott Hybrink that. He had no idea of that. Manager of generation. He said, but I'll find out. He said, when he found out, he got back to me and he said, we did this because there is no cost associated with bringing those units on. Just flip the switch, the wind starts turning. Now you talk about you want more money. You have the resources to do this. I think you guys are going down the wrong road, in my opinion. You closing a power plant that I know Montrose had to become a sacrificial lamb for I-10 too. But unless you have the base load systems, this wind farm and this solar is not going to take it. And you already right here said we're short. It says right here, we cannot supply enough energy in our own resources. You all got rid of them. You had the people, you had the facilities to produce electricity, but you got yourself involved with a Southwest power pool. And I've been told by a management person that is no longer with the company, said that's the biggest mistake that we ever made. Thank you all for listening.
Mr. Williams, thank you. Wayne Woodworth is the next name on the list. If you'll come forward to be sworn, please, sir. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. If you'll please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Wayne Woodworth, first name W-A-Y-N-E, second name W-O-O-D-W-O-R-T-H.
Mr. Woodworth, thank you. What is your testimony?
The first session we had, I asked them what the gross profit was. They didn't know. I looked it up on the internet, public records, and they had, for 23, $3.711 billion. And then I asked them what their net was. Well, they gave me what their net was $800 million a year. If their net is $800 million a year, why are they asking for 17%? Because on the brochure I got from them, it says 17%. And then on the internet also, on the public records, it gave 21, 22, 23 21 was 3.711 billion, 22 was 3.715 billion, and so far this year, the first quarter was 0.882 billion, and on the back end of that, it said a 2.38% increase year over year. So why are they asking for a 17% increase when they have $800 million in net? That 17% increase is going to cost $17.52 per month if you do a $100 electric bill. I've got a neighbor that does $250. I got another one's $400. I've got another one's got $300. I don't know where the $100 came from, but anyway. And I am on a fixed income. My income is based on the government. We're on Social Security, 3.5%, and we're a year behind. We won't even get this year's increase until January of next year. And if you add my wife's and I together, that's only 7%, and Evergy is still looking at 10% more than that. If you look at, that's $210 and some change, which is about 1 week's worth of groceries for us that we're not going to be able to buy. So you're taking and increasing the cost of our energy, and then you're taking a week's worth of food away from us. We're already cutting a lot of things out of our budget already. I can't remember. I think the last time we went to a movie was over a year ago, and we aren't going back any time soon because it was $37 for one night. So we don't even go to movies anymore. That's just one example. There's others I could rattle off, but it's no need. I'm just saying that the cost of our economy is outpacing what we're getting from the government for our COLA. And this is way above and beyond what we get for our COLA every year. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Mr. Woodward, thank you. The last person on the sign-up list is Bill Edwards. Right, if you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, please, sir. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Thank you, sir. If you'll state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Bill Edwards, Billedwards.
Okay, Mr. Edwards, thank you. What is your testimony?
Commissioners, thank you for being here, and thank you. I want you to listen with an open mind and a lot of common sense. This is what I'm asking. Not to listen to some of this on the left, but listen to us, because the two words in the middle of your all's commission is public service. We are who you're supposed to be looking after, not them. I've been to these rate meetings before. They will list one-time charges, and I'm going to give you an egregious example of that in a moment, for their rate increases. One-time charge is fine. You give them some money for that, but when that's paid for, those rates need to be rolled back. Those rates are given to them permanently, and they stay there forever. Here's the egregious example. I-10 flooded. Well, you got to keep the power on, so they were boating the employees, and I got some inside information like this gentleman back here. They were boating those employees to get them in there. They come to a rate meeting, the lawyers in some several $1,000 suits telling us how that was part of the reason why they needed a rate increase, because they had a one-time expense of boating those employees to keep the lights on. A one-time expense does not, in anyone's world, equate to a permanent rate increase. When they throw that at you, laugh them off. That's ridiculous. And every room, they got a rate increase last November with these time-based rate plans. They can tell you all day long. A few people, I'll give you, might have saved some money by doing their laundry at 3 a.m. But I don't know anybody in this room that does their laundry and their dishes at 3 a.m. So most of us got a rate increase, and they are making money off that, and they got a rate increase last November. This is July, and they're back at the trough again. You guys are the ones standing there with the stop sign in your hand to put an end to this. Now, I'm asking you to have an open mind. I'm asking you to do the right thing. This company's been mismanaged. I get things all totally in the bill, putting LED light bulbs in, put some better windows in, put some more insulation in your house. How about you guys use those rules for yourself? They're not doing it. And you are standing there between us and them to put a stop to this. I'm sick of it, and I know they're sick of it. You're in power to put an end to this crap. And you guys had your money in November, and now you're coming back asking for more. This is bullshit, and you all know it.
Okay, Mr. Edwards, thank you. And Mr. Edwards is the last witness on the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Right, if you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. If you'll please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Yes, sir. My name is Tina, T-I-N-A, Bogus, B as in boy, O-G-G as in girl, E-S-S as in 7.
Right, thank you. What is your testimony?
I stand here to you tonight as a Mayor Pro Tem of Sedalia, Missouri, Second Ward City Councilwoman of Sedalia, Missouri. This meeting has not been advertised properly for the customers in this Missouri West area. The low attendance here tonight can attest to this. Therefore, I feel it needs to be rescheduled for the time for others to have their input and let you know how they feel about this increase here. We don't have a local pay station for Evergy. So not only are we paying our bill, but we're paying another outside entity to pay our bill to you. Doesn't make sense. So already we're paying extra money. So I ask you to reschedule this hearing and take into consideration that the notification needs to be given out in a timely manner to those in which you're asking for this increase. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Coleman, I'm sorry, did you have a question? Yeah, I'm sorry. I think Commissioner has a question for you.
Thank you, Ms. Is it pronounced Bogus?
Bogus.
Bogus. You certainly aren't the first person that's talked about the lack of proper notification. So can you give me some type of idea about how the majority of people that are in this room were notified?
I was approached by an individual that knows me personally at the grocery store today and showed me an advertisement from Kansas City KCTV, Channel 9. And she said, "Do you know about this?" And I said, "What is it?" She said, "You all are having a meeting." I said, "Wait a minute, who's you all? What are you talking about?" And so then I read it and I said, "No, I don't know anything about this." That was the first time that I've heard or seen any notification about this.
Okay, and so nothing that would have come in a bill that people would have gotten?
Nothing came in a bill. I can say for me, nothing came into a bill to me personally, and I manage a senior complex of 55 and older. Trust me, if you had put in their bill that you're asking for a rate increase, they'd have been at my office. Nobody. And that's over 40 people there.
Thank you, and
You're
thanks for being here tonight.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kleiser?
More of a comment than a question, but and I know this is cold comfort, there is two virtual local public hearings tomorrow. To the extent that anybody knows somebody who would like to give comments and hasn't had the opportunity to, please consider those virtual local public hearings. Sorry, thank you.
Mr. Kleiser, thank you. I appreciate that. I was going to bring that up myself. I appreciate that. Does anyone else wish to testify before the commission? Yes, sir. If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you swear the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, as far as I know, sir.
Thank you. And if you'll please state and spell your name for the record.
State Representative Brad Pollitt, B-R-A-D-P-O-L-L-I-T-T.
Okay, and what is your testimony, sir?
My testimony is that if the PSC continues to force our for-profit to go down this green energy path, this is just the beginning of rate increases. And as we've heard today, our middle class cannot continue. I said earlier, energy, food, fuel we put in our cars, that's the the middle class gets beat up on those all the time. And green energy is going to kill them. So I just ask you to really consider thinking that hard when we're shutting down coal plants, that we could spend that money putting coal surfers in there. We could spend that money putting CO2 filters in those plants that would probably be less than this green energy, and save money. We could burn coal for 400 years, and we could burn clean coal. But we have to be willing to do that, and I know the pressure comes from Washington, D.C., and I know the pressure comes from boards that are for-profit boards, and I know the federal government gives low-interest loans on green energy, and I know boards are saying we need to get in on that because we can make the most money. Our PSC has to stand in the way of that because there's other options that will better suit our middle class than to pay the vast majority of their money on fuel, food, and green energy. And I stated earlier that I've done a lot of research on this, and the amount of Missouri ag land that's going to have to go under solar panels to be carbon neutral by 2045 is going to hurt our ag industry, thus pushing the cost of food up, or we're going to eat food out of a plant, meat out of a process, or meat out of a research plant, and I really don't want to eat that meat. So I would ask you consider that on what green energy is doing to our middle class. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Does anyone else wish to testify before the commission this evening? Sorry. Sorry, no. Good try, though.
I don't think 5 minutes is long enough, in my opinion.
Thank you.
We've got people in this room who want to say some more.
Mr. Kleiser.
Just as a reminder, you can make written comments. I appreciate that that may not be the same thing to you, but that is you have that opportunity to make a written comment. You can either send that to the PSC or directly to the OPC, who will file it on your behalf if there's more that you'd like to say.
All right, Mr. Kleiser, thank you. Does anyone else wish to testify before the commission this evening? All right. Any closing comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Coleman? Mr. Holzman.
Just want to thank you again for taking the time to express your thoughts. I know that you don't feel like 5 minutes was enough time, and we appreciate that. Tomorrow we will have 2 additional virtual hearings that you're welcome to attend if you would like to give more comments. And just that the decisions have not been made. We are weighing the facts objectively as our roles and responsibilities dictate to us. And your comments are heard, and we do listen, and we appreciate you for taking the time. So thank you for coming.
Commissioner, any commissioners on the WebEx with closing comments? Commissioner Kolkmeyer?
Yes, thank you, Judge. Just want to thank everybody for coming out and for giving their testimony this evening, so thanks again.
All right, Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, thank you, Judge, and thank everyone that came out and took the time to share their thoughts with the commission. It is very helpful as we, work our way through and deliberate on this, and we certainly appreciate your time.
All right, Commissioner, thank you. And I would also echo what the Commissioner said and thank everyone for coming out this evening. Thank you for your participation and your testimony. The hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Commissioner Coleman. Yes, I'll be, if people have questions about participating in tomorrow's virtual hearings, we can help you with that once we're off the record. So thank you very much. We are off the record.